If you are applying for another job, whether it's in the same hospital or you are moving to a different institution, one of the most important things that you need to get right are your references. So for today's video, I will be sharing to you my experience as well as my expertise as being a referee for my junior nurses for about 7+ years now, and also my own experience as someone asking for reference for stepping up into a higher band or higher positions in the NHS. So if that is something that you're interested about, then please keep watching this video. Hey everyone, it's Jake here. I'm a nurse here in the UK and welcome back to my channel. So in the last 7 years that I've been here in the UK, I've been asked to do references for more than a dozen of people, whether it's a junior nurse stepping up to become a band 6 or one of my band 5 nurses who wants to join an agency for extra work, or even my student nurse that I signed off and is now applying for their first band 5 position. I've done all of those references. The most important question that you need to answer first is who. The person that you need to put ideally should be your line manager, someone who has seen how you work, knows your attendance, your sickness, and has access to your employee records. The reason for this is that depending on the company or depending on the job position, the things that they may be asking become more detailed the higher the band or the position is. So the best person who has all of this information will be your direct line manager. So it could be your ward manager, or it depends on your setting. If you're in a specialty area, it will be your matron if there is no specific manager for your area. But there may be cases where it is not ideal to put your manager. One of them is that some people, especially those with higher positions, whether it's matron or your director of nursing, if that's one of your references that you are thinking about, they can be very busy. And when you do get the job, you will not be able to proceed with your application if your references do not reply to the email sent to them by the company or by the hospital. So if you think that your ward manager is too busy, she's been overloaded, with different staffing problems, and she's had to sort out a lot of datexes and all other different problems in the ward, then it might be better to choose your deputy ward manager. So this is your charge nurse or your band 6 nurses. So when the manager is not there, they take over the ward manager. They become the ward manager in terms of their role. So technically, they are still one of your line managers. And in comparison to your actual ward manager, they may have lesser responsibilities. They may have lesser datexes assigned to them, so they would have more time to be able to do your references. In certain cases as well, you might not be too comfortable with your manager, especially if you got some beef with them or you've got some things that you haven't resolved yet. So, for example, you are actually applying for a different job because of the manager, then it would not be ideal to put that person as your reference. So your next best choice are your band 6 nurses or your charge nurses or your deputy ward managers. Now, if you don't want to put in your band 6s as well for certain reasons, then it is possible to put in your senior nurses, even though officially they are not in a band 6 position. That can still be considered, but the best would be someone who is actually a band higher than you. So it's band 6 or band 7. So what will be asked from your referees? Now, I've seen loads of different forms. I've seen a form from an agency. I've seen a form from an NHS institution. I've received a link as well to an electronic file for someone applying to a private institution, which is still a nursing job. So there are a lot of different formats that your referee can receive. So they may receive an email with written questions, enumerated questions that they will just reply to just there on, in their email or Outlook or whatever email address they have. Some may receive a link that they need to click and it will go to an electronic form, and others still may receive a link that opens to a website where he or she needs to fill in those specific details. Regardless of what form they receive for the referencing, there are general themes and questions that will always be present. So the very first one is with regards to absences and sickness. Some forms will be asking for actual number of days that you have been sick or absent in the last 2 years, 3 years, or in the last year, depending on your length of stay in your previous or your current role. So it would be very ideal to have your manager as your references, as they have access to your employee record. Now, if you're asking someone who is not your manager to be your reference, make sure that you tell them if there are any specific details that you are not sure about, that you can call me at any time and I will give you the details. Now, if you are being asked for absences and sickness, this will be in your electronic employee record, your ESR, for those who are working in the NHS. So that's where you can find the answer to that. Another constant thing that will always be asked in referencing is your attitude and work ethics. So it's very important that the person you've asked to be your reference has no beef with you, because there will always be this question. It will ask if you are friendly to everyone, if there's any issue in terms of your work ethics, like are you hardworking, are you lazy, also do you get along with everyone, how is your communication, and are there any issues so far in the workplace with regards to your behavior. So that will be asked. So if you're just starting now and you're watching this video, please try and maintain good relationship with not just your seniors but everyone in the multidisciplinary team of your workplace. So different forms will have different questions, but it will focus on three main themes. Number one is your attitude. Number two is your knowledge and skills. And number three will be your relations with the people around you. At the end of all these different questions, the very last question that is always there, that never fails to show up, will be, are you happy to re-employ this person in your unit again? And that is the most important question of all. Because even if they have answered positively for the last 7 questions, but if at the end they say no to this very last question, that is not going to look good on you. Now, how should you approach a person that you want to be your referee? One of the things that really irritates me is receiving an email asking for a reference for a junior nurse and I haven't been told about it. Now remember that you are the one that needs this reference. You need to be polite. You need to inform the person first. Well, some people may say ask permission, but if you are a senior nurse, then it is one of your sort of unspoken responsibilities to do reference for your junior nurses. But that doesn't mean that you can just put their name without asking or telling them first. So that's a common courtesy, but also it makes them aware so that if and when it does come, they won't be surprised, and also they'll be happy to do it, and they will be ready with the answers that needs to be put in the form. Don't just put their name without letting them know, because that will come out as quite rude. So please ask your potential referees politely. Do not just drop it off like a bomb and say, hey, I put your name as my reference for this job application I've done. Okay, thank you, bye. That's number one, that comes off as abrupt and rude, and it won't be favorable, especially with the fact that they are the ones who will be filling up the form. So if you come off as rude, they might be able to put that in the form as well. So you need to be really nice and really polite. Now, besides all these questions about attitude, teamwork, and all of that, there will be specific details that you need to let your referees know so that they can complete the form properly. Remember that you are not the only person who may be asking for reference. And also, if you're asking a band 6 or a deputy, ward manager, or your charge nurse, they wouldn't really have a record of your exact number one start date, your full name. You know, in the UK, we have a different, we have a very multicultural workplace, and sometimes people choose a different name to put on their badge from their actual legal name. So make sure that you give your referee your full legal name, your start date, specific start date, including date, month, and year, and your proposed end date. Also, it's important that you let them know the title or what kind of position you are applying for so that the answers to the reference form may be tailored in order to fit that role. So whenever I myself am filling one of these references, I always make sure that the things I put are positive but also match the role that they are applying for. So for example, I had this band 4 who is applying for a band 5 position. So it was important that I put there that even though as band 4 they have been stepping up, to and been showing some leadership responsibilities, and they have been able to manage effectively certain patient loads or caseloads. So that will show that they are ready to take on a band 5 position. So things like that. So it's important that you let them know what kind of position you have applied for. So have I ever refused to be a referee? The answer is yes. So, but these are very specific situations. One of them is that there was one person who asked me to be a reference, but I've only worked with that person twice. And that's because they were bank or agency. So working with you for 2 shifts, I don't think that's enough for me to be able to vouch for your work ethics, for your attitude, for your punctuality, and all of that. So I wasn't really happy to give that reference. So I was just open to them and told them, I am really sorry. I don't think I'm the right person to do this. You work more regularly on this specific ward, and this senior nurse or ward manager has seen you a lot more or knows you more in terms of how you work. So I think she is the best person to be a reference and not me. I think sometimes people ask me to be a reference even if they haven't really worked a lot with me, is because I'm quite open and friendly. But just because I'm open and friendly doesn't mean I'll just do it. I need to be fair, because when I do a reference, that is my name there, that is me vouching for you. So I have to make sure that I do have the right level of knowledge, and I have really overseen you to be able to vouch and say, yeah, this person is a good worker, she's got all the necessary knowledge and skills, and definitely I would hire her again if she does want to apply or come back again to us. Another occasion where I almost did not do the reference was when this person put me as a reference for a job which is outside the country. So I'm thinking that for things like that, which are a lot bigger, I think you really have to put in your actual manager and not just the deputy. And another reason as well was that I wasn't even informed beforehand. I just received an email say, I'm messaging you from Canada, blah, blah, blah. This person said that she's been working with you, blah, blah, blah. Can you fill out the following forms? And I'm like, hold on. I don't know anything about this. So yeah, that wasn't a very good start. So if she really wanted me to do that reference, she should really have talked to me first and said, "Oh, I want to apply for this job in Canada, and do you mind if I put you as one of my reference, just in case the manager is not available or is too busy to do it?" I would have been happy to do it straight away. So because of those issues, I sort of left it for a bit because I was quite busy as well. But then she was quite persistent, and so even if there are times when I'm not impressed with how she works, I'm not gonna go into details. So I still accepted the reference. I filled in the reference form, and I just filled it as a matter of fact. If this was someone who is a super good worker, very honest, very always punctual, and all of that, I would go the extra mile and would have a very long response for each question because I know that they deserve um, a better response. So yeah, that's how I put it. Once everything is done and your form has been filled by your referee, please make sure that you say thank you. You don't have to give any gift or anything like that, but a simple thank you will do. Because filling up these reference forms, sometimes we do this on our days off, because obviously when you're at work it's too busy. So we do take the time during our day off to fill this in. It will take between 15, 30, sometimes even 45 minutes, depending on how long the form is, how specific the questions are. So yes, it does take time and effort. So make sure that you say thank you to your referees. And that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that this was informative and helpful to you. If you do like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And for more informative videos in the future, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and keep your notification bell on so you will be notified as soon as my next video comes out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will be successful in your future applications, and keep safe, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.